Okay, so we've made our texture, and now it's this giant thing with 3 million faces. I could go to export the model, but likely at this point the model is going to be way too big. I know for a fact that this will be close to a half a gigabyte or more of file size, and that's not really helpful for using it places. So if you haven't, you should save your project, right? So do a file save as. You should be saving it every time you do one of these steps here, because then if something crashes, you can go back and not have to rerun those steps. I probably should have said that earlier in these videos. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, first I'm just going to rename this, and I'm going to call this high quality, right? And then, because if you click on this, you'll see, right, it has 3 million faces. And then I'm going to duplicate it. Duplicate. And say, yes, give me all the stuff. Take a second here. Right? And it should call it something like copy of high quality. And I'll rename this. And I'm going to call this Decimate. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to bring this model down for export. So I'm going to go to my high quality one, and I'm going to disable the chunks. Just so I'm not working on those. I'm going to make sure I have these selected so that they're set to active. And so this right here, you see these 3 million. I want to get that down. So I go to Tools, Mesh, Decimate Mesh. And so it'll tell you how many it has, and this is the target. So you can, it's kind of a guess. How many faces will bring it to the file size you want? And I know I'm going to ask you to upload these to Sketchfab, and with a free Sketchfab account, you have to have a 50 megabyte or less file. So I know about 400,000 faces should get us there. So I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to take a couple seconds here. Replace default model, and I'm going to say no. I'm not really sure what the difference between default model is, but I want to keep these things kind of separate. And this is just going to take a second here, so I'm not going to bother stopping the video. And now notice, right, I see what happened. Our 3D model has this right here, right? So I could actually I could have said default, so I'll just remove that to get it out of our way. Here we see we have two models, right? Our high quality and our decimated model with only 400 faces. Now, what you have to do after you do that is you should rebuild the texture, because you see it's gotten to look kind of wonky here, and it doesn't even have a texture on it. Whereas if I go to this one, right, I should be able, I guess it gets rid of it completely. I guess the model, you're just kind of forced to do the textures at the end here. So, you know what, just to make things simpler, I might save these as like 2 different files, like one leave it at high quality and then remove the chunks so I'm not screwing with stuff. Really, it's up to you, but we're okay. So we need to go back to Tools, Workflow, and build the texture over at this point after we decimate. We can also smooth again before we do it and refine, which maybe we should do, right? So we probably likely should do kind of the steps over, right? Refine, smooth, by now we shouldn't have holes, and then lastly, build the texture. I'm not going to do that now because it's so time consuming. I won't do it in front of you, I'll do it off camera, and then come back to actually exporting our model.